our interview. We shall be talking about the 13th graduation of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. And just a preamble, the Institute is holding its 13th graduation, and the Certified Tax Advisor, that is CTA, Accounting Technicians qualifications will be awarded to graduates of the Certified Public Accountants Diploma courses. They completed their studies after having started in 2020. That ceremony is at Hotel Africana, and it will get underway in just about an hour, under an hour. A period covering 8 examination diet. Interesting. Nancy Akullo, the head of communications at the Institute of Certified Public Accountants, is here to help us understand what is going on. We also have Zuriat Nakayenga, a senior tax specialist at Jumia. Ladies, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Chris.
How are we doing?
Very well.
Let me begin with Nancy Akullo. Quickly bring us up to speed with what ICPAU is, what you do, and the 13th graduation ceremony that is due to take place just about now.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you for having us. So ICPAU, for starters, is the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. So we were established by an Act of Parliament in 1992 to regulate the accountancy profession in Uganda. So in executing that mandate, there are a number of things that we do, but I will speak about 4 key ones. So one of them is in line with the qualifications and education framework, which is why we have the graduation ceremony today.
That's right.
Then the other one is in line with quality assurance. Then we have an investigations and disciplinary role as well for our members. And then also we have a role in line with practicing accountants, issuing farm licenses and certificates of practice. So let me just get into a bit of each of these. So, so I spoke earlier about the qualifications framework.
Yeah.
So what we do basically is first of all, we set the syllabuses for these courses, and then we set examinations and administer them. So we have 3 courses, the ones that you have just mentioned. We have the Certified Public Accountants of Uganda course, we have the Certified Tax Advisor, and the Accounting Technicians Diploma. So CPA, which is the premium course, is a professional accountancy qualification. So for those who are aspiring to be accountants, that's the course that they should be looking at undertaking.
Okay.
Yes. And then CTA is and the minimum requirement for CPA is A-level. A-level. Yes. Then you have the Certified Tax Advisor, which is now a course for those who want to specialize in tax consultancy. So if you want to be a tax agent, the Tax Procedures Code Act specifies 2 authorities when it comes to tax matters, and one of those are accountants. Then of course there's the lawyers. But if you want to go into tax consultancy, that's the course now that you should look out for. Then ATD, the diploma, is an entry-level course for those who want to be accountants, but they've not been able to meet the minimum requirements for CPA. Because for CPA, you must have a minimum of 2 principal passes and 5 credits at O-level, and those must include English at birth. But now for ATD, you can enroll with 1 principal pass. So you can start from ATD and then now advance to CPA. So that's what we do in terms of education. Then I mentioned quality assurance. So we have the accounting firms that we talk about. They need to be, we review the work that they do through the quality assurance framework. So we are now in the 4th cycle of review. So we visit the firms and we look at their documentation, and we check the work that they do and their standards, already established standards that we use to check the work that they do. And then of course we spoke about the practice framework. So those who want to establish accounting firms, what people normally call audit firms. Audit firms. Yes, but they are called accounting firms because they do more than audit. They do tax and so many other things. So for those who would like to establish an accounting firm, first of all, there are two requirements. You must have a certificate of practice, which is issued by ICPAU, and then a firm license. Now, to get that certificate, you must be a CPA, meaning you must be a member, first of all, of ICPAU. So there are other requirements. So that's what we do. And then the final one among the four that I talked about earlier is investigations and disciplinary. So what we do here is we maintain a register of CPAs. Yeah. Those are members of the institute. So there's a professional code of conduct, that accountants are required to comply with. And when they breach, then the requirements in that tantamount to professional misconduct. So that's when now the disciplinary hearings come in. So that's what we do. We have a disciplinary committee, which then now conducts the hearings. So moving on to the graduation.
Now, just before you do move on to the graduation, I would like to ask, does the ICPAU regulate or monitor, and is it responsible for dismissing or bringing to book accountants in civil service?
Yes and no.
Okay, clarify on that.
So let me start with the no. So the mandate of ICPAU is only for its members. So if somebody is not a member of ICPAU, we cannot discipline them. So the people that you're talking about in public service, I don't want to use the term accountant because the Accountants Act defines an accountant as one who is a member of ICPAU. So those who are not members of ICPAU are not CPAs, and therefore we cannot, the law doesn't allow us to regulate them. So that's why we emphasize to employers so much that they should recruit CPAs. CPAs are those who are now members of ICPAU, so that they know if something goes wrong in the unlikely event, because really they are heavily regulated. And
in the likely event,
unlikely
things go wrong.
Yes, then they can report to the institute, and then the disciplinary process can then take place.
Okay, allow me transition to Zuriat Nakayenga, a senior tax specialist at Jumia. And when you hear Nancy speaking about the fact that organizations ought to ensure that they employ accountants or specialists that work under the aegis of ICPAU, then of course Jumia is doing a pretty good job. What is the state of affairs when it comes to private practice and the general, scope of work for you? Just give us a testimony of how things are.
If you look at most of the corporation companies now, they have really made it a point to recruit members of the institute to ensure quality work, because it starts from having the right people. That's right. So I think most companies have now realized the need to have a CPA look at your books, to have a CTA review your tax returns. So I think I could say that looking at it from a wider perspective, we are getting there.
All right. Looking at the day's newspaper, the Constitutional Court, and I'm sorry to bring this in, but it's very related to tax compliancy and the fact that you can go for private people's accounts. Previously, how has it been working? The tendency for, a client or a business person's books to be, looked through. Isn't this going to constrain the work of people like you?
No, why? Why would you think that it's going to?
Because it's going to constrain your ability to audit.
No.
Okay, it won't. All right. I thought it would give us some bit of perspective. All right, let's return to what's going to be happening. It's just about 7:45. 8 o'clock. The graduation ceremony, the 13th for that matter, is due to get underway. Who are going to be passed out?
Yes, so it's graduands of the three courses that we mentioned, the CPA, the certified tax advisor. Zuriat graduated not so long ago, so she's done both CPA and CTA. She's a good ambassador.
Good ambassador.
Yeah, and then of course the Accounting Technicians Diploma.
Yeah.
So there are 3 graduates of the 3 courses. So basically it's at Africana, starting at 8 a.m. The chief guest is Honorable Minister of State for Finance in charge of general duties, Honorable Henry Musasizi. So why, maybe just to speak about why the graduation is relevant for us as ICPAU. Remember we talked about the qualifications and education framework. So it is through now, the graduation, that we pass out or give the qualifications, and then the recipients of these qualifications can then move on to the next stages in their career development. For instance, for those who complete CPA, the next stage for them is now to enroll for membership, because you don't become a member automatically if you complete the course. You need to have a minimum of 3 years of relevant experience. So now they can come, and then when they are members, then they become full CPAs. Then those who've done ATD can then advance to CPA. So it helps us to operationalize the qualifications.
What is the rollout of internship, so to speak, for those that graduate? Does ICPAU provide a framework for job entry?
That's a good question.
Yes.
I think, tackle that.
When you become a member, ICPAU will always send out job opportunities, internship opportunities to your emails, but that opportunity is only available to members of the institute. And of course, we have the associate members who are graduates but have not yet registered to enroll to become members, and we encourage that group to enroll quickly. We have so many that have qualified. There are CPAs out there, but they are not yet members, so they are missing out on some of these benefits, the networking, the social capital.
Talking about missing out on the benefits, as a country we could be missing out on the benefit of using exclusively certified tax specialists. Could you give us an idea of the amount of loss to the nation if we, for example, were able to achieve people with these skills to manage within the public service, where it is so fraught with corruption, graft, and mismanagement? How much money would we save, for example?
It's a lot. You see, in Ugandans or employers they are reactive. With tax, you have to be proactive. You have to manage your taxes on a day-to-day basis, so that URA has a tendency of auditing 5 years backwards. They have a tendency of picking up a transaction that happened 10 years ago. So it is something that you have to manage on a daily. And employers will not know the value of a certified tax advisor on board on a day-to-day basis unless URA knocks on their door and they have to react. So we encourage to minimize such losses. The loss is huge. I mean, we've seen assessments. Recently, ABSA was put on the spot to pay a lot of money. So some of these things we can mitigate if we are proactively engaging certified tax advisors and certified public accountants. Yes.
So Nancy, does the ICPAU provide more like a minimum wage framework for all members, that if you are employed by, for example, Nation Media Group, then they know exactly that Nation Media Group will not throw you below the minimum wage bus? Does that happen?
I'm smiling because that's the question that comes up. It comes up a lot. But to answer your question, no, we do not do that. We don't really have...
It's entirely upon the specialist's bargaining power.
Yes, because you know we cannot. Organizations have their revenue. What do I call it? Revenue basket. So we cannot really come and say you must pay your accountants this amount of money. But what we do is that's why we promote the course, because when you have CPA, your value, your bargaining power is higher, so you can negotiate. So for us, we approach it from the perspective of enhancing the value of the accountant and increasing their negotiation power, so that when they go when they're offered a job or they go for a job interview, they can be able to ask for the monies that they want. And then if they don't get it from employer X, then they can, you know, go to employer maybe Y, who is able to offer them a better package. So that's why we really, because if you go for a job interview and you have CPA and you're vying for a position with somebody who doesn't have, the one who has CPA has higher, because you have the skills. Other qualifications are good, but they focus on competences, whereas CPA focuses on skills and application.
What's the difference there? Competences and skill being one who is practicing.
Being skilled means you have experience. You have the experience, and CPA is so practical, and CTA. We engage our students. By the time they graduate, they have the practical feel. So if it is at a panel, at an job interview, you'll be able to demonstrate your experience and the value, and that is skilled, being skilled. And that is what is key for employers.
But also, Chris, in the training, Zuriat has brought in the practical part. But in the training also, if you look at the type of examination questions that are set, you will see that most of them are scenario-based questions, which prepare the student directly now for the job market, so that, you know, to test their analytical skills. So by the time now a student goes into the field, because they've done this practice theoretically, it's easy for them to now then apply and then do what Zuriat is talking about. All
right, I'll allow each of you 60 broadcasting seconds to do a wrap and perhaps share something that you could have missed out. I'll begin with you.
Yeah, my maybe word to the public out there is for employers especially, is to recruit certified public accountants. And we've said that a CPA is one who is a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. And the reason why we encourage employers to recruit them is, number one, like Zuriat said, they have the right skills, they've done the professional course. But number two, they are regulated, you know. They are bound by the Professional Code of Ethics for accountants, and if they breach, in the unlikely circumstance that they breach the provisions of the code, they can be disciplined.
Your last word.
My journey, my being here was to encourage the young ladies and gentlemen thinking about enrolling, those that have enrolled, those that have qualified but maybe are not employed, that this is the right decision. We made that decision when we were young, and we are now reaping. Being a CPA helped me. I mean, I sat for my GMAT and I was able to immediately go for my master's, even without a bachelor's. So from my master's, I went on for my CTA. So CPA, I have a CPA, I'm an MBA from Makelele, I have a CTA. So we need the skills. You have to continue.
All right, very inspirational stuff there, no doubt. I wish you the very best as you go to pass out the latest graduates from the Institute to go out there and do their very best when it comes to managing money. Because that's it. All right, that will do it. Nancy Akullo, the head of communications at the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. We were also hearing from Zuriat Nakayenga, a senior specialist with Jumia. That's it for this particular discussion. I'll be back with another, so stay with us. Get yourself a cup of coffee, but most importantly, tighten your belt.